Hey guys, this is Philip from Philip Looney Fit. Glad you could join me here for my very first Facebook Live video. What we're going to do today is go through a low back workout together. Now just to give you a little background about myself, I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm also a Pilates mat instructor, and I'm shooting this video live here from 24/7 Health and Fitness Center here in downtown Columbia. We're here in our personal training room. This is where we also have our Pilates class every Wednesday night at 6, so if you're local, hopefully you can come out and join us sometime. But I put together this workout for one particular client of mine, a good friend of mine, known him several years. He's an office worker, like a lot of us are, and he was having some different low back pain, a lot of low back issues, and it kind of really put a halt to his exercise program for a little while. So what we did, we sat down together, we kind of came up with this routine so that we could kind of get him some relief with his low back pain that he was having. And I thought this would be a good subject for our first live video chat here because I know a lot of people deal with low back pain. Like I say, a lot of us, maybe we sit in front of a desk all day or we're riding around in our cars, and of course that puts a lot of stress on our lower backs. In fact, one statistic I just read said that about 30 to 40% of people suffer, especially as we get older, we get into our mid-30s, early 40s, we're going to begin suffering from degenerative discs, bulging discs, and things like that, even if we don't show symptoms. So low back health is something that's important. So these different exercises are meant to not just strengthen the low back, but also your abs, because if you think about it, your spine is supported by both your back and your front, so you have to have really good core strength to support the low back and support the rest of your frame. Now the routine that we're going to go through today is based on a couple of things. As I mentioned, I'm a Pilates mat instructor, so we're going to do some different Pilates moves, but also a lot of the different things we're going to go through are based on this book, Framework for the Low Back. I highly recommend it. When I post this video and some notes on my blog later on today, I'll give you a link to that. So if you're suffering from low back pain, you might invest in getting that book. It's going to go into a lot more detail on things that you can do for low back pain, ranging from making changes to your diet, as well as a complete workout series that you can incorporate. So to begin with, what we're going to do is a very brief warm-up together. Because before you do anything active, it's good to kind of break a little bit of a sweat. Now, ideally that might mean you're going to go for 5 minutes on an elliptical, just something to kind of get the blood pumping. Now, today, I'm just going to assume you're not at the gym like me and that maybe you're sitting at home or wherever you are and you're watching this video. So I want you to get out your chair. What we're going to do is just march in place for 1 minute, and that's going to be our warm-up. And then we're going to move into the routine. Starting out with some stretching, then some different core exercises, and then ending everything with some stretches that you can do to help out your low back. Okay? So let's get started. So as I mentioned here, as part of the warm-up, what we're going to do is just march in place. So really kind of drive the knees high, trying to get the blood pumping, warming everything up. Okay? So we're just going to do this for 1 minute. So put on some music. If you're with a partner, tell a joke. You want to do something just to kind of get yourself moving. Now, for this workout that we're doing today, you really don't need any equipment. As you can see here, I'm on a yoga mat. So if you have an exercise mat at home, that'd be great. You could do this on the carpet. The only other piece of equipment we are going to use at the end is a stability ball, which we're going to use to stretch out the spine a little bit. Okay? So if you've been marching in place here, if you've been going about a minute or so, you should feel nice and warmed up. You should feel the blood pumping. Trying to break just a little bit of a sweat just to kind of get started. Okay? Now, the first stretch that we're going to do is called the pillar stretch. Now, like I said, if you're experiencing low back pain, maybe you're an office worker, this is a stretch that I recommend you can do really anytime, but especially when you take your breaks, maybe after walking around the office for a little bit, warming up again, before you sit back down and get to work, you can start with this stretch. So to begin with, interlace your fingers here. So you're forming, your hands are interlaced. You're going to reach up above your head. So really reaching high above your head, really stretching up towards the ceiling. And we're going to hold this pose for about 10 seconds or so. And this is stretching out your low back. Okay. Good. Now let's tilt over to our right. Again, holding our arms in the same position, really reaching to that opposite wall. It's going to give us a stretch on the side there. Again, hold this for about 10 seconds. And then let's reach to the left and holding this for 10 seconds or so. Good. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, that's an excellent exercise for both your low back as well as your shoulders. Okay. Now, the next one, very similar. This is called climbing the rope. So it's just what it sounds like. You're going to climb an imaginary rope. So reaching up, really reaching up like you're grabbing a rope and pull down. Reach up and pull down. So stretching that low back, stretching the side as we go. Okay. Good. Now typically as we do these stretches, and we're going to do about 5 of these on each side, as we do these stretches, you want to typically hold a stretch for at least 10 seconds or so. Now if you're really tight, if you really have a lot of tight muscles there in your low back, it's recommended that you hold each of those for maybe 30 seconds and then repeat that sequence of stretches 3 times. So 30 seconds, 3 times. You would do that pillar stretch as well as grabbing or climbing the rope that we just did. Okay. And next, just to loosen up our neck, we're going to do a spinal twist here. So you're going to form your arms cross-armed like this, and then just really twist from the back. So as you do this, really think about twisting from the waist. A lot of times, sometimes people, when they do this, they kind of wrench and they twist their hips. Okay, keep your hips square. Think about if you had arrows on both sides of your hips, you want to keep those pointing forward. So just really twisting at the side. Okay. One of the things that can sometimes help with this, if you're having problems, just have a soft bend there in your knees. Okay. So we're going to try to do this 5 times. Yeah. Very nice. Okay. The next one that we're going to do, this is called the can opener. Okay. I didn't name these exercises, by the way. These are just what they're oftentimes called. Okay. So to do the can opener, what you're going to do is you're going to lift the leg and then twist out to the side. So lift the leg, keeping the knee bent, a little bit of a balance challenge here, and twist out to the side and come back down. Okay. Twist, come back. Knee goes up, twist, come back. Again, I'm trying to do about 5 on each side. And again, if you're experiencing tightness in the low back after that warm-up, after these stretches, you should feel that low back really start to kind of loosen up. Shouldn't feel any pain or discomfort as you make these movements. You should really feel the muscles starting to relax, starting to really stretch. Okay. Let's do one more there. Good. Keeping these as nice, slow, controlled movements. All right, now we're going to come down onto our mat. And we're going to do now a couple of Pilates moves together. Okay. Now, the first one is called the glute bridge. Okay. And so the idea here is that you're really going to squeeze from your glutes, really press your heels into the mat, lifting your hips up towards the ceiling. Okay. So this is going to help with your low back. This is also engaging the glutes, which again your back sits on top of, so giving you some support there, as well as the hamstrings. So to do this, we're going to lie on our back. Again, place our heels firmly into the mat, hands by our sides. We're going to take an inhale through the nose, and this is part of Pilates. You take a deep inhale through your nose and a deep exhale through your mouth as you make each movement. So taking a deep inhale and exhale, really lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. And you hold there for 2 seconds, then we can inhale and come back down. So inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're doing 8 of these total, so 3 more. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Good, very nice. And then inhale, come back down. Now we're going to do another low back stretch here. What you're going to do is take your knees, pull in towards your chest, and if you like, you can even rock back and forth, get a little bit of a massage there on your low back as you do this. Okay. So again, holding that stretch for about 10 seconds or so. Now, the next exercise we're going to do is called a half roller. And again, this is a Pilates exercise, really built for strengthening your abs, especially some of your lower abs. There's actually 3 different layers of abs. You know, not just the ones we think about the 6-pack, those that are on the surface, but you actually have deeper lying abs too. And those are the ones that obviously, as they're deeper lying, they're closer to your spine, so they're giving you support there. Now, in this case, we're going to do a modified half roller. So we're going to keep our feet placed firmly on the ground. You're going to point your fingers up towards the ceiling. Now what you're going to do here, again, we're going to take a deep inhale, and on an exhale, you're just going to lift your head and your shoulders up off the ground, looking at your belly button, and then an inhale, come back down. So we're not powering ourselves up like a sit-up, but it's a very slow, controlled motion. So inhale and exhale. 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 Okay, good. So we're going to come back down, and then if you like here, you can do a nice back stretch. And that's the point here, trying to stretch out the low back, build up that core as we do. Okay, very good. So far you should have a little bit, feel a little bit of get a little bit of the sweat going. You should feel a little bit of, again, looseness there in the low back. Shouldn't be too tight for you. Next things we're going to do are really going to focus in on the obliques and again some of these muscles here in the low back. So the next thing we're going to do is side planks. Now you have a couple of different options here as you're doing the side planks. The one that we're going to do is considered the modified version. So you're going to keep your elbow in line with your shoulder. Keep your feet kind of catty corner so your toe is touching your heel. You're really going to drive through the heel and lift up onto your side. Okay? Now we're going to hold this position for about 20 seconds. So usually during class, this is when I tell people a joke. It takes their mind off of what they're focusing on, working on the side there. Okay? So we're going to hold this for about 10 more seconds or so. Good. So we're going to come back down. Now we're going to switch sides. Do that same side plank now on our opposite side. In this case, my left-hand side. So again, pushing up. Your hand placement, you can put a hand here, you can put a hand up in the air, put it to your side, whatever is comfortable here. Okay, good. So we come back down. So again, should feel that on your side. We're trying to target those obliques there on your side. Again, all part of the core. Next, we're going to do a series of moves that's called a prone series, which essentially means we're going to be lying on our back. And so by doing this, again, this is going to challenge our core. We're also going to do some activities that specifically target the muscles in the back. The first exercise is called the Superman. The reason it's called that, as you'll see, is because you're going to stretch out like you're flying through the air, just like Superman. So we're going to lie on our stomachs here. Arms are stretched out in front of us, legs are stretched out behind us. You're going to imagine there's a zipper that's zipping your thighs together so your legs are really pressed in together. You're going to imagine too that suck your belly button in towards your spine. The way you do that, imagine if someone were to touch an ice cube to your belly button, you would naturally suck your belly button in. What we're going to do here on an inhale, we're going to lift everything up in the air. We're going to fly through the air like Superman. And then on exhale, we're going to come back down. So inhale up and exhale down. We're going to do 8 of these. Inhale up, exhale down. 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 Inhale up, and exhale down. Very good. So you can relax now. If you've been pushing those thighs in together, you can relax that. We're going to push everything back into a child's pose position, stretching out the low back, stretching the shoulders as we do that. Now the next move we're going to do is called bird dog. Now the reason for this is one of my clients said she was out the other day and she actually saw a friend of hers had a dog and the dog pointed and did just like this, so this is where the name bird dog comes from. So you're going to place your hands underneath your shoulders, knees are going to be underneath hips, and what you're going to do on an inhale, you're going to extend the opposite arm and opposite leg. In this case, we're going to extend our right arm forward and left leg back at the same time. So inhale forward, exhale, bring it in. 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 Again, trying to do 8 of these. Inhale forward, exhale, bring it in. Inhale forward, exhale, bring in. Inhale forward, exhale, bring in. Good, one more. Inhale forward, exhale, bring in. Now the opposite side. And as you might notice here, the challenge is to keep your stability, and that's where you're really having to engage your core muscles to maintain your stability, and that strengthens them. So inhale forward, exhale, draw in. Inhale forward, exhale, draw in. Inhale forward, exhale, draw in. Inhale, and exhale. 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 Very good. And again, we can push back into a child's pose. Now while we're here, we're also going to do another plank series. Now normally you would do 2 sets of planks for 30 seconds. We're just going to do 1 plank for 30 seconds here together. Again, I'm going to make sure the hands are underneath your shoulders. And kick the right leg back, left leg back, and keep everything in a nice, tight, straight line. So as you're doing this, you should really feel the shaking going on. Right now I can feel my muscles engaging, so that's giving me a little bit of a shake. That's normal. If you feel that shaking, that means your muscles are working. So we're going to hold this position again for 30 seconds. Just taking deep inhale and deep exhale. 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 There you go. And lower back down and come back into that child's pose. Very good. Now, last two things we're going to do together, we're going to do a couple of other stretches for us. First one is a psoas stretch. So the psoas is a muscle that runs through the leg, connects to the abdomen. To do this, we're going to bring our foot forward. Really kind of press forward. Should feel that stretch through the inner thigh. As you're doing that, and then reach up towards the sky as you do this. Good. So 10 seconds there. And stretching here. And if you have shoulder problems, you can also hold down here. Sometimes if your shoulders are uncomfortable or that's uncomfortable on your arms or tired, you can also stretch. Okay, good. Now last thing, so I mentioned we're going to use a stability ball here. If you have one at home, great. If not, they're very cheap. You can get them at Walmart, Amazon. Usually find them a number of places. We're going to roll back here in a nice spinal stretch, letting yourself arc over. And then the same thing in the opposite direction. Easiest way to do this, on your knees, bring the stability ball towards your waist, and then just curl over and roll yourself forward so you feel that stretch in the low back. Very nice. Okay guys, well, thank you very much for joining me today during this Facebook Live session. Again, I'm going to post some notes here, so if you missed any of the exercises, want to go through it again at home, I'll post all these notes on my blog. That's philiplooneyfit.com. That's Philip with one L, philiplooneyfit.com. You can go to my blog there. Also sign up for my email newsletter while you're there. Each week I'm sending out some of the best fitness tips that I found throughout the week, so things to really kickstart your Monday and get you motivated to work out. So thanks a lot, guys. Hope you have a great rest of the weekend and hope you enjoyed this series of low back workouts.